No better person. That's kind of a that's a big load to carry. I hope I fulfill. Hi everybody again. I'm Karen Rockind. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Team Northeast Ohio, Team NEO. Just to get a sense of who's in the room, how many of you have heard of Team NEO? Okay, most but not all of you. That worries me a little bit. So that means I'm not doing my job as well as Chris thinks I'm doing. I'm glad to be here, and I really appreciate it because we need to talk about what it is that we do and how it impacts the communities you work in, how what you do impacts the entire region, and how we can work together. I also need to get a sense, because I'm going to talk a little bit about something that's critical to our region in terms of marketing. How many of you have heard of Cleveland Plus? Okay, again, most but not all of you. Okay, this is great. I might take more than my 10 minutes. No, just kidding. I'll do my best. So some of you may be aware that Team NEO, Team Northeast Ohio, was created a little more than 5 years ago. And the idea was that businesses around Northeast Ohio, remember about 5-6 years ago, we were losing a lot of businesses, right? They were being acquired or they were moving, and there was this big panic, right? So business people from around Cleveland and Akron and Canton and all of your communities said, oh my God, we need to do something regional. Let's create this regional organization, as if we weren't all like sick of creating organizations, right? So they created this joint venture called Team NEO. And the papers at the time used the word Messiah. The Messiah is here, Team NEO. And then they staffed the Messiah with 5 people, okay, for this 16-county region, $170 billion, and 5 people who were going to turn it around and fix it. Now, you don't got to be a genius to figure out that's not going to work. And the question is, what could we do regionally, right? So we're supposed to be a regional organization and regional economic development. Well, as Chris well explained, the definition of economic development varies widely. And a lot of people would say that there are lots of different priorities in economic development, and what could we do regionally? Well, some people said, you know what, businesses are leaving, you need to try to retain businesses, okay? That's what you should be doing. And some people said workforce development, okay? We got all these graduates, brain drain, we're losing people. Some people said air quality, right? And air service. If we had better air service, we would do, and that was a lot, I think, for 5 people to take on. Now, I wasn't there at the time, okay, but there was a lot of confusion over what should these 5 people do. And we got really lucky that a couple of years into it, the Fund for Our Economic Future came along and invested in this idea of a regional organization. And the group then, again, got blessed enough to have Tom Waltermeyer, who is the former CEO of both Geon and then Poly One. He was leaving his company, and his passion was regional economic development. He's an Akron guy who had done work in Cleveland and Lorain County, excuse me. And so he's a real regional guy, and I also got the opportunity. I'd been in automotive marketing my entire career. I'm from that state up north that Chris wouldn't speak of, and I did go to the Maize and Blue school, and I'm darn proud of it. So I'm even on video saying it. So go Blue. And a lot of people would say, well, why is a Detroiter or a Michigander spending all this time? I mean, my entire career is all around Northeast Ohio. I'll tell you why. Alcoa, which is a phenomenal aluminum company that was actually started and born right in Oberlin in 1886, phenomenal company, global company, we all have heard of them. They brought me to Cleveland about, I guess it's 6 years ago now, and as soon as I did not know one person when I moved here. As soon as I moved here, I started to get a little bit involved in the community, right? I was looking to meet friends. Frankly, I was looking to meet some men, okay? So I started getting involved in the community, and I found immediately, this was an easy community to navigate. The minute I stepped into, a great way to meet people is to start volunteering, right? Stepped into a volunteer role through the Jewish community because I'm Jewish, and the next thing you know, I'm meeting executives, right? My friends in Chicago and in New York, they don't get to meet CEOs. That doesn't happen. But in this region, that's possible. And I found it very easy to make friends and meet men and all that good stuff here. So I became a real advocate of Northeast Ohio, and I was approached to say, you love Northeast Ohio so much, would you consider promoting it for a living? And I said, absolutely. So about 3 years ago, Tom Waltermeyer, former CEO of Poly One, and I both joined Team NEO at the same time, and we took a look at, oh my God, we were supposed to be the Messiah, okay, but the organization hasn't done a lot because there's so many expectations, and a lot of these expectations don't make sense to do regionally. The number one expectation that didn't make sense to do regionally, business retention. Okay? Now, let me give you an idea. In the 16 counties of Northeast Ohio, how many businesses do you think we have?
Thousands.
Thousands. How many thousands?
20.
180,000. 180,000 business establishments in the 16 counties of Northeast Ohio. And do we think that the 5 people who worked there, we're going to retain them all? I mean, let's get real. Right? So even once the fund was able to put some dollars into it, and now we are a 15-person organization, $3 million nonprofit organization, business retention still is better done locally. All of you have relationships with the companies in your community. All of you are much better able to help that company with a building permit, with putting in a street light or a parking garage or some sort of need that that company has in order to grow. A regional group has no business in business retention. That's better done locally, right? And the way that we best learn that, first of all, we had lots of people telling us that when we first started 3 years ago. And then we decided, you know what, this whole regionalism thing, it's such a buzz nationally, frankly internationally, once you start reading economic development magazines, that we're gonna go, let's go learn from other people what they do regionally. So we got on a plane and we went to Research Triangle. Everyone loves talking about Research Triangle, right? They're all this and they're all that. Well, guess what their regional group does? Marketing and business attraction, okay? Then we went to Kansas City. That has a phenomenal marketing program. And Greater Kansas City is 18 counties, 2 states, right? We think we have it tough in competitiveness with, you know, at least we're all one state, okay? 2 states, 18 counties. And what do they do in their regional group? Marketing and business attraction. So we started seeing this as a theme. And we said, well, of course that makes sense. Because from a marketing perspective, if we're going to compete globally, okay, and that's what we're doing as a region, if we're going to try to get new businesses to come into our region, then we are competing. It's no longer Avon Lake competing with Shaker Heights. It's no longer Maple Heights competing against Garfield Heights. I'm talking about for a new global business that's bringing 300 jobs. Okay, in fact, in my 3.5 years at Team NEO, I have never seen a project come through where one community in Northeast Ohio is competing against another community in Northeast Ohio.